Picture this. You're watching this video right now, and somewhere out there, 92% of people who started the year with a big, ambitious goal have already quietly, maybe even guiltily, given up. They've quit. And here's the twist. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they lack willpower or because they're somehow fundamentally flawed. No, it's because they never learned the 7 non-negotiable levers that don't just suggest change, but lock it into place, making it stick like superglue. That feeling? The one where you set out with all the best intentions, that spark of hope, that vision of a better you, only to see it fizzle out by March. We've all been there. It's a silent struggle, a private disappointment that whispers, "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." But I'm here to tell you that's a lie. The problem isn't you. The problem is the missing instruction manual for lasting transformation. Stick around, because in the next 20 minutes, and honestly, it might stretch a little beyond that, because I'm about to unpack some serious gold here. I'm not just handing you those 7 levers. I'm going to prove they work. I'll show you through the incredible, relatable story of one woman. Let's call her Maya. How she used these exact principles to escape a life that felt like a never-ending loop, a real-life Groundhog Day, and land squarely in a reality so vibrant and fulfilling, she still has to pinch herself to believe it's real. This isn't theory. This is a playbook, and you're about to get it. Section 1, the catalyst. Let's talk about Maya. At 29, Maya was, by all outward appearances, doing fine. But beneath the surface, it was a different story. Picture her, 2 a.m., phone screen glowing in the dark, binge scrolling through endless self-help reels, little snippets of advice that felt good for a second but never actually changed anything. Her bank account was a constant game of whack-a-mole, living paycheck to paycheck, and those weekend drinks she proudly declared self-care were, if she was brutally honest, just numbing the quiet hum of dissatisfaction. Nothing truly awful had happened to her. No major trauma, no dramatic crisis. But crucially, nothing truly great had happened either. It was a life lived in the beige middle ground. A life of quiet desperation, where the biggest excitement was ordering takeout on a Friday night. She felt this deep, pervasive sense of being stuck. A heavy, invisible blanket smothering her potential. And what do we do when we feel stuck? We Google it. She Googled how to stop feeling stuck. And what did she find? 1,000 contradictory answers. A cacophony of voices telling her to manifest, to hustle, to find her passion, to just be happy. It was overwhelming, confusing, and ultimately useless. So she stayed stuck. Here's the core, the real problem, and it's a profound one. Maya was trying to edit a finished chapter of her life instead of having the courage, the insight, to simply open a fresh page. Think about it. You can tweak a sentence here, change a word there, but you can't fundamentally rewrite the plot of a chapter that's already been written. That's what most of us do. We try to patch up the old story, hoping it will somehow magically transform into the new one. But real transformation, the kind that feels authentic and lasting, requires a different approach. It requires a willingness to acknowledge that the old chapter served its purpose, and now it's time for a blank slate. Step 1, the very first non-negotiable lever, fixes that. It gives you the clarity to know when to edit and when to simply turn the page. Section 2, Step 1, brutal self-audit. So, Maya, fueled by a flicker of that nascent desire for change, took the first, deceptively simple step. She didn't buy an expensive journal. She grabbed a cheap, spiral-bound notebook, the kind you might find at a dollar store, and she drew 3 columns. Simple headings: love, tolerate, loathe. Now, this isn't just a list. This is an excavation. This is where you get savagely honest with yourself. This is where you pull back the curtain on your daily reality and really, truly see what's there. Under loathe, Maya didn't hold back. She listed the soul-crushing commute, the jarring sound of her snooze button every morning, the gossiping coworkers who drained her energy, and the late-night chips that left her feeling sluggish and guilty. These weren't minor annoyances. These were the tiny cuts that bled her spirit dry each day. Under tolerate, things got interesting. This is often the trickiest column. These are the things that aren't bad enough to actively fight against, but aren't good enough to truly enjoy. For Maya, it was her cramped studio apartment, the perpetually beige wardrobe that felt like a uniform for invisibility, and her default response to "how are you?" A flat, unconvincing "I'm fine." These are the compromises we make, the parts of our lives we've accepted as just the way things are. They're the subtle energy leaks. And then, love. This column, for many of us, starts surprisingly sparse. For Maya, it was the feeling of freedom on her Sunday morning runs, the infectious, booming laugh of her mom, and the comforting, slightly musty smell of library books, a scent that connected her to a forgotten dream. These are the sparks, the glimmers of joy that remind you what's possible. The entire exercise took Maya a mere 12 minutes. 12 minutes that changed everything. And what did it show her? Two profound truths. First, she'd been living almost entirely on autopilot, drifting through her days, reacting instead of creating. Second, and this was the eye-opener, her life wasn't a catastrophe, but it certainly wasn't a masterpiece. It was, as she calculated, roughly 70% tolerable, 20% loathable, and a mere 10% lovable. That's a stark reality check, isn't it? Think of it like renovating a house. You can't even begin to plan an upgrade if you haven't measured the space, if you don't know which walls are load-bearing, which pipes are leaking, and which rooms get the morning sun. This audit is your blueprint. It's your foundational self-assessment, your moment of raw, unvarnished truth. It's the first step towards self-awareness, which, as many wise people will tell you, is the cornerstone of all true transformation. So, here's your first action, your first lever. Do the audit now. Seriously, pause this video if you need to. Grab a pen and paper. Be savagely honest. This isn't for public consumption. Nobody else will read it. This is for you. And if you find that love column a little thin, don't despair. That's not a judgment. It's simply information. It's a starting point. It's the first step to knowing exactly what needs to change and what you want to grow. Section 3, Step 2, Define the North Star. All right, so you've done the brutal audit. You've faced the reality of your current landscape. Now what? This is where most goals flop, isn't it? Because they're not really goals. They're vague wishes wearing Nike sneakers. I want to be happier. I want more money. I want to get in shape. Sounds great, right? But how do you measure happier? What is more money? What kind of shape? These are aspirations, not destinations. And without a clear destination, you're just wandering. Maya understood this. She took the raw data from her audit, the desires under love, the frustrations under loathe, the compromises under tolerate, and she flipped it. She didn't just wish for a better life, she defined it. She distilled her entire future into a single, crystal clear sentence. A sentence so vivid, so potent, she felt she could yell it across a canyon and it would echo with meaning. Here it is. By 24 months from now, I am a full-time children's book illustrator living in Lisbon, running coastal trails, banking $5,000 profit a month. Now, let's break down the magic in that sentence, because this isn't just a pretty vision. This is a North Star. It's specific, not artist, but children's book illustrator. It's measurable, full-time, Lisbon, $5,000 profit a month. It's emotional, living in Lisbon, running coastal trails. These are things that light her up. She feels them. And crucially, it's time-stamped by 24 months. This isn't some distant fantasy. It has a deadline. This isn't about being rigid. It's about being clear. It's about giving your subconscious and every action you take a target to aim for. When you define your North Star with this level of precision, every decision becomes easier. Does this action move me closer to Lisbon? Does this help me become a full-time illustrator? If not, it's a distraction. This clarity is the ultimate filter. The research backs this up, by the way. Frameworks like SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, or clear goals, collaborative, limited, emotional, refinable, aren't just corporate jargon. They're psychological tools designed to harness the power of your focus. Writing down your goals increases your likelihood of success by a staggering 42%. Why? Because it moves it from a fleeting thought to a concrete commitment. Your turn. This is your second lever, and it's transformative. Finish this sentence and make it shout-worthy by date/time frame. I am A, who you are, who, what you do/have. Keep it concise enough that you could shout it in 15 seconds or less. If it doesn't light a small, insistent fire in your chest, if it doesn't give you that little jolt of excitement, then tighten it, refine it, make it more specific, more emotional, until it absolutely sings to you. This isn't just an exercise. It's you giving yourself permission to dream and then giving that dream a concrete form. This is you charting your course. Section 4, Step 3, Install micro-habits. You've got your North Star. You know where you're going. But how do you actually get there? It's not one giant leap. It's 1,000 tiny steps strung together by the power of micro-habits. This is Step 3, and it's where consistency trumps intensity every single time. Maya's North Star was to be a children's book illustrator. That sounds like a monumental undertaking, right? Learning new software, developing a style, building a portfolio. Overwhelming. So, she started with a ridiculously simple rule, the 2-minute rule. Every single morning, before she even had her first sip of coffee, she opened Procreate, her digital drawing app, and she doodled one character. That's it. One character. For 2 minutes. This isn't about artistic genius in 2 minutes. This is about showing up. This is about proving to your brain every single day that you are that person. You are an illustrator. And here's the magic. 2 minutes often turned into 20, then 30, then an hour, faster than she ever expected. Because the hardest part isn't the doing, it's the starting. She didn't just pick a random time. She stacked this new habit onto an existing one. She made it automatic. Her trigger was boiling the kettle for her morning tea. Kettle on, Procreate open. Kettle whistles, first doodle done. This is called habit stacking, and it's a superpower. You link the new, desired behavior to something you already do without thinking. Brushing your teeth? Add 2 push-ups. Getting dressed? Listen to a language lesson for 5 minutes. The cue becomes automatic, and the resistance melts away. After 30 days of this embarrassingly small habit, Maya had 90 sketches. Not all masterpieces, but she had 90 attempts. And more importantly, she had started to develop a style, a rhythm, a sense of herself as an artist. She had evidence. Now, you might be thinking, but how long does it take for a habit to really stick? Research from University College London shows that, on average, it takes about 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic. 66 days. But here's the critical caveat. That only happens if you start embarrassingly small. If you try to leap from 0 to run an hour every day, you'll likely burn out in a week. But if you start with put on my running shoes for 2 minutes, that's a habit you can't fail. This is your third lever. Pick one tiny action, one micro habit, that proves to your brain you're already the person from your North Star. Make it so small, so simple, so utterly non-threatening that you literally cannot fail to do it. And then, stack it onto something you already do every single day. This isn't about instant results. It's about building an unshakable foundation, one tiny, consistent brick at a time. This is how you build momentum, how you overcome resistance, and how you eventually make the impossible inevitable. Section 5, Number 1. Hey, if you're getting value from this, if even one of these levers has sparked a thought or given you an aha moment, then do me and the community a tiny favor. Tap that like button. It tells the algorithm that this message is resonating, and it shows it to someone else who's feeling stuck, someone who needs these tools. I'm not asking for me. I'm genuinely asking for them. Let's spread this message of empowerment. Section 6, Step 4, Upgrade the environment. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are constantly, subtly, whispering instructions to your subconscious mind. Instructions you often don't even notice. This is Step 4, and it's about taking control of that silent chatter. Think about it. The apps on your phone, the clutter on your desk, the people you follow online, the food in your fridge, the art on your walls. Every single one of these elements is a cue, a gentle nudge, either towards the person you want to become or towards the person you're trying to leave behind. Maya understood this intuitively. Her North Star was clear: children's book illustrator in Lisbon. So, she started systematically removing anything that contradicted that vision and installing anything that supported it. She deleted the Twitter app from her phone, a notorious time sink and comparison trap. She moved the TV, which had been a central fixture, out of her living space and into the hallway, making passive consumption a conscious, deliberate effort instead of an accidental default. And every single night, she placed her running shoes right on top of her duvet, a tiny, unavoidable visual cue for her morning coastal runs. She didn't stop there. Her digital environment was just as critical. She unfollowed accounts that triggered comparison, those perfect, curated feeds that made her feel inadequate. And she actively sought out and followed illustrators who posted time-lapse sketches, processed videos, and behind-the-scenes glimpses of their work. This wasn't just passive scrolling. It was active learning, constant inspiration, and a daily reminder of her North Star. Environment isn't just decor, my friends. It's the curated input hitting your senses every second of every day. It's the physical space, yes, but it's also the digital space, the social space, even the auditory space. It's the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the conversations you engage in. All of it shapes your thoughts, your beliefs, and ultimately, your actions. This is your fourth lever. Audit your environment tonight. Take a critical look around. What objects, what digital feeds, what people, what routines are quietly, persistently suggesting that you stay average? What's making it easy to default to old patterns? And then, with intention, start to redesign it. Make your desired behaviors easy and your undesired ones difficult. Make your environment a partner in your transformation, not an adversary. Remember, you might not notice the whispers, but your subconscious certainly does. Make sure those whispers are telling you the right story. Section 7, Step 5, Run Failure Drills. Here's a truth bomb. Perfectionism isn't a virtue. It's often just procrastination in a tuxedo. It's the elegant excuse we use to avoid taking action, because if we can't do it perfectly, we don't do it at all. This crippling fear of imperfection, of making a mistake, keeps countless dreams locked away. Step 5 is about dismantling that fear, brick by painful brick. Maya, the aspiring children's book illustrator, faced this head-on. She knew that to get good, she had to be willing to be bad. So, she scheduled Bad Drawing Fridays. Every Friday, she intentionally illustrated ugly characters. Seriously, wobbly lines, disproportionate bodies, mismatched colors. The goal wasn't beauty, it was quantity and courage. And then, she took it a step further. She posted them online. Now, why would she do something so seemingly counterintuitive? Because the stakes stayed incredibly low. By deliberately creating bad work, she inoculated herself against the fear of failure. Her nervous system, instead of bracing for catastrophic judgment, learned a crucial lesson. Mistakes aren't fatal. A bad drawing didn't unravel her identity. It was just a drawing. It was data. It was a step forward, not a step back. Neuroscientists call this exposure therapy. It's the process of gradually exposing yourself to the thing you fear in small, manageable doses until your brain relearns that the threat isn't real. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, call it rapid iteration. Get something out, get feedback, learn, adjust, repeat. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, the faster you succeed. Consider this. If you're terrified of public speaking, waiting until you have to give a keynote address to 1,000 people is a recipe for disaster. But recording a 30-second reel of yourself talking about your favorite hobby and posting it to a small, private group, that's a micro-failure. That's a failure drill. If you're a writer, it might be publishing an imperfect blog post. If you're starting a business, it might be launching a minimum viable product that's good enough rather than perfect. These tiny reps, these intentional acts of imperfection, vaccinate you against paralyzing bigger risks down the line. They build your resilience muscle. They teach you that you are not your failures. They teach you that the path to mastery is paved with mistakes. So, here's your fifth lever. Pick one micro-failure you can perform weekly. Something that pushes you just outside your comfort zone, but isn't catastrophic. Do it. Get it out there. And then, observe. What happened? Did the world end? Probably not. This isn't about striving for mediocrity. It's about embracing the messy, imperfect process of growth. It's about replacing the fear of failure with the joy of learning. Section 8, Step 6, Build an accountability loop. Humans are fascinating creatures. We often work harder to avoid public embarrassment than we do to earn private reward. This isn't necessarily a flaw. It's a powerful psychological lever, and Step 6 is all about harnessing it for your transformation. Maya understood this. While her internal motivation was growing, she knew the power of an external push, especially when the stakes were clear. So, she hired an $18 a month coach on a platform called Supporty. Now, this wasn't a life coach in the traditional sense. It was an accountability partner. Each Monday, she uploaded her weekly goal: finish 3 character sketches, research Lisbon apartments, run 15K. And here's the kicker. If she missed that goal, if she failed to report her progress, that $18 didn't just go to the coach. It went to a political party she absolutely despised. That, my friends, is loss aversion in action. The pain of losing $18 to a cause she detested was a far more potent motivator than the abstract reward of getting her work done. It was a brilliant, self-engineered consequence. You don't need to bet money if that feels too extreme. You can bet reputation. Post your weekly progress screenshots on a private social media group or to a trusted friend. Tell your family your goal. Make a public declaration. Your future self, the one who is celebrating their wins, will absolutely thank you for putting yourself on the line. The science on this is unequivocal. Studies consistently show a significant bump in follow-through, sometimes as high as 42%, when goals are spoken aloud to a trusted watcher. Why? Because it creates a social contract. It makes your intention real, external, and subject to external validation or gentle pressure. It moves your goal from a private whisper to a public commitment. Think about the structure of Alcoholics Anonymous or other support groups. A huge part of their success is the built-in accountability loop, the shared commitment, the public declaration of intent, and the support of others who understand the journey. It's not about being shamed. It's about being seen, being supported, and having that gentle, consistent nudge. So, here's your 6th lever. Build an accountability loop. Find a trusted friend, a mentor, a coach, or even a small online community. Clearly state your weekly goal, and then introduce a consequence, either a financial one like Maya's or a reputational one. Make it uncomfortable enough that you don't want to miss your commitment. This isn't about punishment. It's about setting up your environment for inevitable success. It's about leveraging human psychology to keep yourself on track, even when motivation wanes. Because it will wane. And when it does, your accountability loop will be there to catch you. Section 9, number 2. All right. If the idea of building an accountability loop resonates, if you're ready to put this into practice, then I have a challenge for you. Comment loop below. Just that one word. And here's the deal. If you comment loop, you're making a commitment. You're telling yourself and this community that you're willing to check back in 30 days from now and tell us how you're doing. The community will cheer you on, offer support, and science says you'll literally double your odds of success just by writing that four-letter word. So go on, type loop. Let's make this real. Section 10, Step 7. Act before you feel ready. Waiting for confidence to magically appear before you take a bold step is like waiting for a train at an airport. It's never going to happen. Confidence doesn't precede action, it follows it. This is Step 7, and it's perhaps the most counterintuitive, yet most powerful lever of all. Motion beats meditation. Maya, fueled by her North Star and the momentum of her micro-habits, faced a monumental decision. Her 24-month timeline was ticking. She had some savings, but not enough to comfortably sustain her in Lisbon for the full 2 years without income. Her fear whispered, "Wait until you have more money. Wait until you have a client. Wait until you're ready." But Maya had learned her lessons. She booked a one-way ticket to Lisbon after month 5. 5 months. Her savings would cover maybe 3 months of living expenses if she was extremely frugal. This was a bridge-burning moment. She figured, quite brilliantly, that the primal need for survival would accelerate her creativity, her resourcefulness, her ability to make things happen. And she was right. She landed in Lisbon, found a cheap room, and within 7 days, she scored a freelance gig illustrating a local school's science workbook. It wasn't the big children's book deal, but it was a start. It was income. It was proof that she could survive and thrive in her new reality. The lesson here is profound. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect clarity. Don't wait for every single duck to be in a row. Take the leap. Schedule the bold move. Your brain, that incredibly resourceful organ, will find the resources, the solutions, the courage once the bridge is burning. Once you've committed, once you've put yourself in a position where retreating isn't an option, your ingenuity kicks into overdrive. Think about it. How many times have you put off something because you didn't feel ready? Starting that business, asking for that raise, having that difficult conversation, moving to a new city. We tell ourselves we need more information, more experience, more confidence. But true confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. It's the belief that you will figure it out, no matter what. So, here's your 7th and final lever. Schedule the bold move within the next 168 hours. That's 7 days. What is that one action that feels a little bit terrifying, a little bit audacious, but utterly aligned with your North Star? Book the flight. Send the email. Launch the website. Have the conversation. Don't overthink it. Just commit to the action. Your brain will find the resources. Your courage will catch up. This is how you stop waiting for life to happen to you and start making life happen for you. This is how you truly embody your transformed self. Section 11, the 90-day update. For months later, Maya was a different person, not just on paper, but in her bones. She had a robust portfolio that showcased her unique style. Her Instagram following, which had been stagnant, had exploded to 3,200 engaged followers, a testament to her consistent micro-habits and brave failure drills. And her monthly income, from a combination of freelance illustration gigs, now matched her old, soul-crushing Spanish teaching salary. She wasn't living a life of lavish luxury. She still ate grocery store sushi, a practical choice. But she woke up excited. Every single day, that quiet hum of dissatisfaction had been replaced by a vibrant thrum of purpose. The beige middle ground was gone, replaced by a life painted in bold, exhilarating colors. The glow-up wasn't magic. It wasn't some sudden stroke of luck or a lightning bolt of inspiration. It was the compound interest, the exponential growth, on those 7 simple, non-negotiable steps. Each small action, each tiny commitment, each moment of courage layered on top of the last, creating an unstoppable force. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, almost imperceptible, but with each revolution, it gathers mass and momentum until it becomes an avalanche. Maya's story is proof that consistent, intentional action, guided by a clear vision, is the most powerful force for change on the planet. Section 12. Common traps. Now, as powerful as these 7 levers are, the path to transformation isn't a perfectly straight line. There will be valleys. There will be moments of doubt. There will be traps. And knowing them in advance is half the battle. So, let me lay out the 3 most common pitfalls that can derail even the most committed transformer. Trap 1. Comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 12. This is a silent killer. You scroll through social media. You see the finished product, the successful entrepreneur, the shredded fitness guru, the world-traveling digital nomad, and you instantly compare their highlight reel to your messy, uncertain beginnings. You see their success, and you feel like a failure. But you don't see the years of struggle, the countless failures, the relentless grit that went into their journey. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone has a Chapter 1. Focus on your page, your story, your progress. Your unique path is valid. Their success is simply proof of what's possible, not an indictment of your present. Trap 2. Believing motivation must come before action. This is perhaps the biggest lie we tell ourselves. We wait to feel motivated, to feel inspired, before we take the first step. I'll start my diet when I feel motivated. I'll work on my book when I feel inspired. But it's the other way around, my friend. Action creates motivation. Momentum generates inspiration. Maya didn't feel like doodling one character for 2 minutes every morning. She did it. And the doing created the desire to do more. The feeling of accomplishment, however small, is the most potent fuel for future action. Don't wait for the spark. Light the match yourself. Trap 3. Thinking transformation is linear. We envision progress as a steady incline, a graph always moving upwards. But that's a fantasy. Transformation is messy. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's plateaus. Maya hit one of these plateaus around week 6. Her initial burst of energy started to wane. The novelty wore off. She questioned everything. But here's the critical insight. She kept showing up. She honored her micro habits. She leaned on her accountability loop. She ran her failure drills. And just when she thought she was stuck, the graph spiked again. The breakthroughs often come right after the moments of deepest doubt. Expect the valleys. They are not signs of failure. They are built into the storyline of every successful transformation. They are where resilience is forged. Recognize them, navigate them, and keep showing up. Section 13. Fast Start Checklist. All right, you've got the levers. You understand the traps. Now, let's make it actionable. Here's your Fast Start Checklist, designed to get you moving today. Total prep time for these 7 actions? Roughly 46 minutes. No excuses. Do the love, tolerate, loathe audit tonight. Seriously, grab that cheap notebook. Give yourself 15 minutes. Be brutally honest. This is your foundation. Write your North Star sentence on a sticky note and mirror it. Put it where you'll see it every day. On your bathroom mirror, on your laptop, on your fridge. Make it scream what you're becoming. 5 minutes. Pick a 2-minute micro habit and link it to something you already do daily. Kettle boils, 1 doodle. Brushing teeth, 2 push-ups. 10 minutes. Make it so small you can't fail. Change 1 environmental cue before bed. Delete that distracting app. Move the TV. Put your running shoes out. 5 minutes. Make your environment work for you. Schedule your first failure drill for this week. Record that imperfect video. Write that messy first draft. Launch that good enough thing. 5 minutes to schedule it, then just do it. Text a friend the words, "Keep me honest," and your first milestone. This is your accountability loop in action. 1 minute. Instant social contract. Set a calendar invite for a bold action in the next 7 days. Book that ticket. Send that application. Have that conversation. 5 minutes. Commit to the leap. 46 minutes. That's less than an episode of your favorite show. That's less than scrolling through social media. That's all it takes to start building the momentum that will transform your life. Section 14. Conclusion. Maya's story isn't special because she's some kind of superhuman anomaly. It's special because it's documented. It's special because it proves, unequivocally, that these 7 steps aren't theoretical musings from a self-help guru. They are field-tested. They are battle-hardened. They are the actual mechanics of human transformation. You are not destined to stay stuck. You are not condemned to the beige middle ground. You are one brutal audit, one crystal-clear North Star sentence, 2 minutes of consistent micro-habit, one intentional environmental tweak, one courageous failure drill, one powerful accountability promise, and one brave leap away from a life that feels like home. A life that feels authentic, vibrant, and utterly yours, instead of a waiting room for a life you might never live. The clock starts now, not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, you have the tools. You have the map. All that's left is to take the first step. I'll see you on the other side.